Okay, so you are wanting to be a landlord. Well, today on the video, we are going over the 3 most important tips that you need to make sure you look out for before you become a landlord and have your first or even other rental property. So make sure you stay tuned, because at the end of the video, we're going to give you a 4th tip that is extra important and will help you in the long run. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jens.
And I'm Matt.
And we're with the MJ Group. We're Utah real estate agents here in the beautiful state of Utah. And today on this video, we're going over the 3 most important tips to owning rental property and what you should make sure that you take care of and do.
All right, tip number 1, be clear with your tenants. This is probably the single-handedly most important thing you do is open communication. They have to have expectations. How and when to communicate with you when there's issues that arise. All of those things are going to be super important and save you a lot of potential conflict down the road.
The best thing that we have done is to set expectations up front on this is how the lease works, this is how payments are collected, this is how you submit any sort of warranty issues, any sort of maintenance issues. As soon as you slip on any of the rules, that's when it can become a dangerous road, when all of a sudden they can start to expect other things and other things to happen. If at any time you are going to slip on your rules, make sure it is written down, whether it's paper, email, or a text. Do not verbally communicate any sort of rule slippage, or else it's just a big red flag and you could potentially have a lot more issues down the road. Tip number 2 is going to be screen your tenants carefully. The best thing that a real estate investor can have is the perfect tenant. And that could be done at the very beginning. The best thing you can do is to screen all of your prospective tenants before you end up signing a lease.
What would you say the top 2 to 3 things are that you must screen that are like hands down non-negotiable? You've got to look into these things.
I would say flat out, you want to have 3 times the income for what the rent actually is, because that's just going to be a safety net. Renters have issues that pop up in their lives as well. Something comes up in their family, with their car, unexpected bills.
So if they're tight,
issues.
if rent is going to make it really tight for them, obviously that might be a tough situation to rent to someone like that.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. Another issue is any sort of sexual abuse, physical abuse, any sort of criminal background, or even drug abuse. When you have those issues, it's not to say that someone can't change or turn their life around, but that's just the potential risk that you run into. It's
business, right?
Yeah.
It's a business transaction at that point. So yeah, you got to be aware of all those things. And as a landlord, you've got to know that there are rules and laws around how you can pick these types of tenants. So I'm not a lawyer, go seek legal advice, but you definitely need to be aware that there are discriminatory laws against how you screen your future tenants.
Yeah, and it can even be down to if you have 2 different prospective tenants that you can rent out to. One's a protected class, one isn't. If you discriminate and they somehow find out about it and they think that you discriminated against them based on their protected class, you could get in a lot of trouble, even if you were acting negligently to go and pick the other person.
Yeah, you could have, it could be totally harmless, but again, you
just gotta be
yourself.
careful.
All right, tip number 3, repairs and maintenance. This is a really important one. So let's suggest that you get into a rental property and your cash flow is not super great. You need to make sure that you've got money set aside, because repairs and maintenance are always gonna happen. There's always gonna be unexpected issues when it comes to owning a property.
Yep. One of the best things that you can do is just to treat this property as a business. You have your revenue, which is the rental checks that are coming in each month, but then you also have your expenses. The biggest one obviously is your mortgage expense, the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, okay? Next is gonna be utilities. Now you can set that up whether you pay it or whether the tenants pay it. I typically prefer the tenants because then they're going to be more responsible with the utilities. Lastly is going to be any sort of maintenance or unexpected repairs that you might have to face. Typically, most people would recommend that you save about 10% of the revenue that you get and just tuck that away into the savings account for the business. So that way when things come up, you're not having to scramble out of your own money to go and take those needed repairs. You have been saving up the whole time with those monthly checks that are coming in to then use that to go and end up repairing whatever sort of.
So don't get greedy. Don't think that you've got a cash cow just because you're bringing in a couple extra $100 a month, because that cash cow is gonna die if the furnace and the water heater go out. Right? So, all right, we talked about a tip number 4. Listen, you can be a landlord without this tip number 4. but we strongly suggest you highly consider tip number 4, which is
hire a property manager. Okay, now let's say hypothetically on a property, you're cash flowing about 500 bucks, okay? And the rents that you're bringing in are about 2,500 total. A landlord or a property manager is gonna charge you about 10% of the gross rent, which would be $250. Now you might want to keep that full $500 for yourself. It's far better to spend that $250 on a property manager that's going to take care of all of these issues that we listed just previously on explaining the lease. They get to deal with screening the tenants, and they get to deal with handling all the property repairs and maintenance. So you're kind of removing that.
If you're a nice guy, you're going to struggle to be your own landlord. Tenants are going to have a sob story for everything. Not saying sometimes it's not true, but if you're the nice guy and they have a sob story for everything, you need a property manager. You remove yourself emotionally, in our opinion, it's well worth a property manager's fee. Even if you negotiate a % or 2 off, talk to your real estate agent. We have an in-house property manager here at our brokerage, and if you're a client of ours, you actually get about 2% discount on your property management fees.
Yep, so we think it's worth it. Even if you're gonna cash flow less or maybe even break even, I think that's well worth it because you have other benefits than just cash flowing on the property. You have the rent pay down, which is done by the tenant, and then you also have appreciation, depreciation on the property, some tax benefits as well.
Exactly.
So cash flow is great, but if you can get a property manager and break even, I think that's worth it.
All right, so I hope that this really made sense and resonated with you. We try to have our videos be a really good value add to you. So if you found this video to have any bit of information that you did not know or that you didn't think of before, go ahead and give us a like. And also, please give us a comment if you disagree with us, if you agree. If there's something you feel like we missed, let us know in the comments. And subscribe as always so that you can keep on top of real estate related content in the state of Utah.
Yep, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday we'll come out some more content that's just gonna help you navigate the real estate market, and especially also here in the state of Utah. Thanks so much for being here, you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.